you didn't know?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the D-Generation Y podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Alex.
And I'm your other host, Mike.
All right, guys. So first off, I want to start by apologizing. It's been a while since we've had an episode come out. Life's been a little crazy for both of us, but we are going forward, going to try to commit to at least one episode every 2 weeks just to keep you guys entertained. For tonight's episode, we feel like we have a pretty good...
Said really to keep us entertained. Who are you
That's
kidding?
Also very true. We need lots of squirrels flying everywhere. Inside joke. Someday maybe you guys will all get it. For tonight's episode, we have a pretty good agenda for you. We hope you definitely enjoyed it. We enjoyed coming up with some of the thoughts, but we're going to run through a couple of different segments. We're going to talk about some mid-cards women wrestling. We're going to do a few rounds of Guess the Wrestler. We're going to bring back another segment of Could You Imagine? And then we're going to kick it off to some thoughts on how people in our lives reacted to the fact that we're doing a wrestling podcast. So I'm going to kick it over to Mike. Let's kick it off with mid-card women's wrestling.
Boom. All right. So mid-card, this is where we kind of, I guess your TikTok really kind of sparked this, or our TikTok. But now that, Triple H is kind of in charge of things, I was just kind of curious, or this is where my mind was going. What are we going to do with the mid-card women other than just kind of always, if they're not in a title run or not in kind of like a main rivalry with somebody, do we just put them as a ballet manager or, somebody's love interest? And it's like my initial thinking where it kind of came in when I think I was catching up in 2020 towards 2021 as well. You kind of see that with Lana. She was in, I was saying, I think when we were talking about behind the scenes kind of stuff, I think I was saying how she's been in multiple Money in the Bank matches. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, I felt like they put in a decent amount of work to show that she has this ability and she's not just the ravishing, words are hard, ravishing Russian Lana. Wow, say that 10 times fast. But yeah, and then all of a sudden, so they do this work putting, showcasing that she has these abilities and she's not just another pretty face, and then put her back into somebody's love interest with Bobby Lashley. It was almost like they needed to finish that storyline that was ruined by their marriage announcement almost. And it was just like, I don't know. It made me think of like, okay, well, that's just what they always do to the women that aren't in some type of title run or rivalry with somebody.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And what that kind of brings my mind to is Triple H, Stephanie, like all of WWE made this big thing about like, oh, we're going to empower the women in wrestling, like the whole women's evolution. But then you still have stuff like this
that was not planned, by the way.
like it's not nearly as bad as, like the sexualization as it was in like the 90s and the attitude and stuff like that. Like there's nowhere close to that. Like definitely not what we're trying to say, but it's just funny. It's like they had this whole women's evolution of like women can wrestle, but then, oh, you're not holding a title. Oh, you're not in the hunt for a title. Cool, right. Go be this person's manager because we have nothing better to do with you on TV, but we don't want to take you off.
But now we might have a solution to that.
You alluded to the TikTok that I made and uploaded for our page a few weeks ago, where someone made the suggestion of bringing back the Divas title. Essentially, as a mid-card title. I have two feelings about that. One, do not bring back the Divas title. I think the term in general, not that it's degrading, but like it's not how we view women wrestlers anymore. So don't bring back the Divas title. Plus, the design was atrocious. It fit women's wrestling at the time, but it's not appropriate anymore.
It reminded me very much of like the Ed Hardy design kind of stuff.
Yes. I've never thought of that before. Yes, it was very Ed Hardy. It was perfect for the mid 2000s. Design, thought process, all that. It doesn't work anymore. But that video that I stitched at the time made a good point. Mid-card women wrestling in WWE, they need a title. AEW
mid-card women's wrestling in WWE doesn't really exist.
That's true. Like you'll have the random. Well, to an extent, I guess you kind of get it. Like sometimes you'll have like random feuds that don't have titles, infused with them.
I feel like those are just when it's the build up to like kind of.
Oh, like the winner of this feud.
Like a background of how they like Liv Morgan. There was so much build up with her, Riot Squad and all that stuff, and then back and forth with Riot Squad and whatever, her rivalries with what what was the other one's name? Not Ruby, obviously, but is it Jessica something? Or
Sarah Logan.
Sarah, how was I saying Jessica? Yeah, Sarah. Yeah, and then she had the rivalry with her, I think, for a little bit in like Elimination Chamber at one point.
Okay.
But yeah, and then she kind of went back to Riot Squad, and then again, I felt like that was all build up to show that she has skill, and then now she's women's champion.
Okay,
You get what I mean? Like it was a slow build up, or at least a couple year build up, but it was like to kind of show that has skill, or at least in my mind, that's how that was working.
Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying, and that does make sense. So that's a good point. Like even
But
if
I guess to that point though, sorry, yeah, but I guess to that point it is considered mid card if they're still working up that way. So
right, exactly, and that's the thing. Like during that 2 or 3 years, you could have had some of those feuds be for like this theoretical mid card title, because like realistically, like I feel like some people look down on mid card because like, oh, you're not a main eventer, you're not a world champion. But the whole point of like, especially like more earlier in like WWF at the time, like the IC title, Intercontinental, the part of the purpose of that was if you're holding the IC title, you were supposed to be able to headline a house show because the WWE champion, who was usually Hulk Hogan at the time, was headlining a different house show, in a different town. So you needed to be able to draw in a crowd yourself. And
right.
It was essentially meant to prepare you for that eventual world headline. So like that's what they could be doing.
It's still kind of like, or at least, yeah, I mean, I feel it's actually, in 2021 where I'm at right now, it's the exact same situation you just said. Bobby Lashley, IC champ, all of a sudden comes into the picture with McIntyre. He loses the IC champ and then is literally like, I feel like a couple weeks later is in the run for the championship belt with McIntyre. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, like
right.
Another example that I'm thinking of is
or the US champ is still that way too. I feel like it's like those are built up to that, or whatever brand they're on. It's like
exactly.
And I guess it's similar now with NXT. They have the North American title.
Exactly. Like you think of it like I'm about to see it, but I already know the outcome just because I don't care about spoilers and look stuff up. Like a perfect example of that is Johnny Gargano won the North American.
Literally thinking that in my head.
And then like literally a falls match for the NXT title, and I know he wins it. So it's like it's that thing. And the other example I was thinking of was back in the 90s. Diesel comes in, wins the IC title, loses it, and then boom, he beats Bob Backlund and becomes the WWF champion for almost a year. So like I think women's wrestling in WWE truly does need that because one, it helps showcase more women and give more women opportunities. But then it also does, if you have this individual, like let's use Liv Morgan as an example. You have Liv Morgan, you think she could be a great women's champion sometime. Give her the women's Fox championship or whatever you want to call the title. Like
I mean, I don't know if it would. I don't think they'd ever do this, but I feel like it could be just as simple as the women's Intercontinental Champion or the women's United States Championship. Like I think somebody had said something, or we might have made a reactionary fucking TikTok. What are the words? Duet or just to somebody saying something about, or no, maybe it was a comment on the exact video where they said in WWE 2K22. You have what's her name with the woman's right, Lacey Evans, bringing back the United States champion, the old school one, or not old school one, but like what is it, early 2000s one or whatever at that point. And they were saying, oh, that could be. It was like a fun play at it, but like that could be a viable option too, having the women's US champ and the women's Intercontinental champ for depending on the brand too.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good idea too. Is like because some companies like AEW will just call their mid-card title like the TV station that they're on, or a TV title, as people call it. WWE doesn't go TV title route; they go like IC/US, like a locational championship type thing.
Well, I think because that's WWE, they've just kept from stuff from way back and just kept it, right? Like, that's why I was saying I don't know if they would ever like. It sounds terrible, but I'm sure. I mean, maybe not nowadays because with new direction and new people in charge, like. Say wouldn't discredit the name, but that's what I would think, like not to discredit Vince's creativity or whatever, but I feel like in that older mindset it might have been like, oh no, like that would discredit the US champ, or that would just discredit the actual title itself, not the person.
I mean, like my thought though too is like even if you don't want to, because I get what you're saying. It's like some of the old school thinkers may not like, oh, the IC title is a men's title type of thing. Like you could even do something like, oh, like the women's Canadian championship or like the women's Eastern European championship, like something like that. Still make it look
Instead of saying intercontinental, it could be international.
like you're like it's a joke, but like that's honestly
Right, but yeah, I mean, just to show, because I mean, I feel like at this point it's pretty equal now, or maybe not, but I feel like the universe, the WWE universe, likes both men and female matches equally. Like it's not like how it used to be, where it was a majority, 90% men and 10%. And I say hate that, but that's
and that 10% is obviously.
And it was literally like Lita and Trish fighting each other every time, and then with a mix of like Ivory, Jacqueline, and
yeah, exactly.
Right, Victoria.
Yeah, no, and that's a fair point. Women's wrestling is definitely more respected and like more appreciated by the WWE, by the WWE universe, because they're actually being trained now, as opposed to before. It was like, hey, just look pretty, look sexy, and then roll around for 2 minutes, and then you get the pin.
Or just have a bra and panties match or a pillow fight match or something.
Right, but now they're actually being treated. I don't want to say 100% equally, but they're being treated more equally. They're being trained. They're being taught, like, hey, you want to do this crazy move off the top rope through an announce table? You want to put your body on the line? You do it. Like, whatever. We're paying you to do the job.
But yeah, that was the point I wanted to make before. And I mean, I don't know why I just thought of it again, but because I think somebody had also commented, or we had saw something where somebody thought like Liv Morgan was just not good on the mic or something like that, or she has no charisma or something along the lines. Right. And they're like, oh, put her back in NXT, give her some like training with like Mike or whatever he said. And I think having a mid-card title would actually help get, I know they kind of a lot of times will start at NXT and it'll be like a run as the NXT women's champ or whatever, and then they'll go to main roster. I don't know if they're calling it main. I don't think they're calling it main. Are they calling it main roster now?
Yeah, main roster usually.
Yeah, and then going to main roster, and then they like kind of go for a run or whatever the case.
Right.
But I feel like having it's different. I don't know. Maybe looking at the crowds in NXT compared to obviously SmackDown and Raw, the crowds are bigger. So seeing that bigger audience and getting used to it, especially with the spotlight on you as a champion, as a mid-card champion, it could prepare you for the critics that are going to say, "Oh, they're not ready for the world champ because."
Right. And that's a fair point too. On top of the IC going back against the 90s, on top of the IC title being a chance for you to like see if you can pull in a crowd and hold the title stuff. Part of it is too like getting the mic work. Like you're a champion, so you want challengers to call you out. You want to call out challengers. You want to cut these things.
There's also a difference between mic kind of experience as a champion and not as, or maybe I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm thinking that's because the spotlight.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, again, we're not experts, but I agree. I think skills on the mic as a champ need to be to a different degree, and they need to come from a different perspective than when you're not the champ.
Right.
So I definitely agree there. I think the other point for this that we really wanted to hit on is because we talked about it in text and like offline stuff, and we have not a disagreement, but like we have different viewpoints on this in terms of how many mid-card titles the women should have. Me personally, just because I'm not saying that, long term, maybe they shouldn't have more, but because WWE is already trying to fill up, or already has to fill up as many hours as they do. Like they already have so much content going on a weekly basis.
It would be hard, yeah.
I feel like it would be hard to have more than one like mid-card title for the women, just because, yes, there was the women's evolution, but like they still aren't getting as much TV time, which, it makes sense. There's just less women in wrestling compared to men. Like men in wrestling are kind of a dime a dozen. Finding a woman that is going to be skilled and is going to have the right appeal to have a draw is a little bit harder, I feel like. So that'd be my concern, because I know you would say like one per brand. I just feel like it'd be a little bit harder to give those 3 mid-card championships the attention they deserve.
Agreed, but that's only if they keep treating it the way they currently do, where they have like it's a lot of matches, and the matches are really long, whatever. Maybe they still keep the same amount of matches, but a lot of that rivalry, the story build up, the feuding and all that stuff happens behind the scenes. So that's where again that mic skill kind of comes in place, because you're not solely doing, or not solely, but you're not especially with the mid card people, you're not mainly doing your feuding in the ring, which that's great, because obviously you should still be having your matches to showcase your skill.
Yeah.
But if you're not quite, you need to, if the whole point of having a mid card is to showcase your skill, but also work on your charisma and your mic skills and blah, 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 then that's where you have the off, behind the scenes stuff, or even if it's like behind the scenes fighting or like random things like that. It happens with the, the men's mid card thing. And so I just see, because they did event that at one point have the roster for all, like fair treatment or equal treatment, whatever, to have the same amount of exposure on both all brands. But I mean, maybe not so much now, but who knows? I mean, with the rumors of maybe Sasha and Naomi coming back, and then I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
it's just a matter of how they plan their timing, obviously.
yeah, and I think that's the big thing. We kind of kicked off the segment with saying a lot of this is going to depend on what Triple H does now that he's in charge of creative.
That's why I'm excited to catch up to see where, because everybody's saying currently now that Triple H has only been in charge for, what is it, a couple months now, or not even.
I think like a month at max.
You can see the differences in just that short amount of time. So
yeah, literally his first official night in charge, like Raw went off. Like it was, from what I've heard. Again,
and now it's back to PG-13 too, right?
TV 14, which
whatever.
You're allowed like one F-bomb per episode. Which, not to get off track, but it's got to be Seth effing Rollins instead of freaking. But yeah. But yes, safe to say we're in agreement. Women's mid-card wrestling needs a title. They need more attention. It's just a delicate balance of how they go about it and making sure.
I think they could at least start with getting a tag per, but that again, they'd have to bolster their roster.
I mean that could be a whole nother topic and segment that we have, because I feel like that's a whole other conversation where.
That's what I'm saying. If they wanted to tease the water of potentially adding more titles, they should start with adding it, because then that will obviously give them a reason to fill up their roster a little more, to have those tag teams for women, and then that's how they can play the field.
Okay.
With WWE, you guys want to just hire us? I mean, we're good. Like,
so you're saying. You're basically saying is create more women's tag titles to fill your roster more, so this way then you also have more of a women's roster to be able to do the mid card. I see what you're saying.
And it's almost like a trial run to see if it's like
getting the
people, and it's enough, like the audience wants, if it's best for business. Like, yeah,
that makes sense. I see what you're saying. I like that. Yeah, I mean, overall, I think I'd love to see it, but
who knows?
Yeah, you about ready to get stoked with some Guess the Wrestler?
Yeah. All right, let's go.
All right. So, well, I'll kick it off. Mike, are you ready for guessing that poorly described wrestler?
No, but I'll try to take forever to get my guesses.
All right. So, hint number one for this one, I feel like is going to be the most vague.
Most vague, great.
Was from WCW.
Was from WCW. Okay. Was originally from W. Oh yeah, I can't elaborate yet. I guess. I don't know. No, he's not from WCW. He was originally shoot.
I love all the self-talk.
I don't know. AJ Styles. No, we've already said him, didn't we? I don't know. That's my guess. AJ Styles.
We haven't done AJ Styles, but it was not AJ Styles.
Okay. He was originally from WCW. Like that's where he started. When you say originally,
I mean he did like some.
Other than like indies.
Yeah, other than indies, he started in WCW.
Okay. All right, got him.
Okay.
I kind of also got a second elaboration on that one. Sorry.
Okay, no.
That's male or female, but you said he, so.
Yeah. They were part of a large faction.
Oh, what's the other NWO? The no, was it? What was it? Was it the LWO?
There was an LWO.
right? With
Latino
that-
World Order. Yeah, there was Latino World Order, but that's a group, not a
it's no, I know, but that's where I'm trying to think of who from there started in WCW
well, LWO was WCW, so everybody in it was in WCW.
first, though. That's what I mean. Other than Indies, were they all?
I think so.
first?
I don't really know who was in the group that much. Other
Oh,
than
it's
Eddie.
not one of them then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't know. Booker T.
Not Booker T.
Oh, we've already said Booker T, didn't we? We've done Booker T.
Oh, we did it in the text one, but we said we were going to restart. We said we were going to use those, so
Yeah,
that's a fair guess.
so that could
Yeah, it's not Booker.
okay.
Um,
And my clarification, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I kind of already got a clarification with the LWO, so I don't want to take too much.
So this individual rode a motorcycle to the ring.
Who the hell rode a motorcycle in WCW? Was Undertaker? Why do I feel like he was for a little bit? No, he was always W. You always then. Who the hell rode a motorcycle? Never. Undertaker.
It's not the Undertaker.
Was he in WCW before? And then for like a short
Certainly-
period of time? Yeah, okay. He did. All right. I had a feeling, but I was like, no, that sounds silly because I know he's always been a WWE person. Like, you know,
He started in WCW.
but he did start. Okay.
Dean Mark Callis.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. What did he have like a gimmick? I don't know.
No, I think he was just always mean.
Just-
Mark.
Okay. I have a clarification, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when he rode a motorcycle, was that like a regular thing that he rode to the ring?
It was regular for a particular gimmick of his.
So it was like semi-regular.
Right.
While
He didn't do it.
He
He
was in
didn't
that character for a little while, but
Yeah,
not like a really
exactly.
long time.
exactly. He didn't do it his entire career, but while he was this particular version of himself, he did.
And no, that shit. That's my next. I can't ask him. All right, go ahead. Another hint, right? How
Yeah.
many are we on?
2 more hints. So this person is a love interest of Michelle McCool.
Shut up. Who the hell was a love interest of Michelle McCool? I have no idea. I don't even remember her like the only thing I can think of was when no, it's not a love interest though. The hell was love? I have no idea. Goldberg, I don't know. I have no idea who any I don't even remember her being in a love interest storyline in WWE.
It was, I don't want to say it was a big one, but it was one between 2 wrestlers. It was a triangle, sort of. That's an extra hint for you. Your clarification. You get a question now.
All right. When they rode the motor, I can't keep freaking concentrating on this motorcycle thing. Who the hell rode a motorcycle? God damn it. I don't know. Were they ever world champion?
No, never world champion.
Okay.
All right. Final hint.
Mhm.
They had a televised wedding.
I don't know. Bobby Lashley. I don't
It's not Bobby Lashley.
know. Yeah, I'm not gonna get this one. With this no, because I said that one. Done that one. Yeah, no freaking idea who rode a motorcycle. John Minutes. I can't. Were they a tag team champion
They were.
in WWE?
They were a tag team champion in WWE.
Shoot.
Final guess.
When Michelle McCool was active, early 2000. When did Tess die? No, probably. No, I'm getting her like confused with Stacey Keebler. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. Test.
No. I
No.
was looking for Chuck Palumbo.
When the frick did he have a love interest with Michelle McCool?
He,
The timing is, yeah, I guess that's correct.
he was like dating Michelle McCool, but then she was like also friends with Jamie Noble. So he became super obsessive and like controlling, and him and Jamie Noble had a feud. And he kept beating the crap out of Jamie Noble for no reason. It was like 2006, 7 maybe.
I believe you, I just don't remember.
But yeah, and it was funny because you knew I wanted you to guess Undertaker because every single one of those hints, minus the televised wedding thing, fits.
Yeah.
Because he's married to Michelle McCool. He was part of a large faction with the Ministry of Darkness, which the large faction for Chuck Palumbo was the Alliance during the whole invasion storyline stuff.
Yeah.
He came from WCW and then rode the motorcycle to the ring.
Right. Yeah. I was thinking when you said Chuck Palumbo, I was like, was that a love interest? But I was thinking, remember when Michelle and Layla were McCool or what the frick were they? When they were attacking, what was their name?
They were like cool.
Like cool. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember they took like the pose off or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, how was that a love interest?
No, and then the
oh, so it's my turn now, right?
yeah, and then also the what's it called? The televised wedding was with Billy. So now we've done both Billy and Chuck.
Yeah. We did. Did Billy?
I did Billy at one point.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You ready?
Let's do this.
All right. This superstar has been a champion before.
Has been a champion before, very specific.
You want to go vague? I'll be vague.
All right. Are they male or female?
Female.
Female. Okay.
All right. I was initially going to say this person has been a women's champion before. But you said I'm going to be vague with my first one, so I was like,
I just meant that was my most vague one. Was
right.
WCW because like that
All right.
anybody.
All right. Your clarification was male or female, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this person is not trustworthy.
Is not trustworthy.
If you
oh shit! I just said her name. She was Victoria.
No.
Okay.
Here we go.
Were they original women's champion or one of the new women's champion?
I think just the original women's champion.
The original. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. This person thinks that they're all grown up now.
All grown up now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Trish Stratus.
Nope.
Oh, damn it.
Okay.
You got so excited.
We're getting to the fourth one.
This might be the furthest you made it in a while.
It's like text message days.
All right. Were they ever in any other company?
No.
Okay, so always WWE. Okay.
All right. This person has a mean swing.
A mean swing.
Mm-hmm.
Beth Phoenix.
Nope.
Okay. So final guess or final hint, I mean.
Yeah. No, you didn't. Clarification.
Oh.
Wow, get to the fifth hint.
2000s wrestler.
And
Or
plus,
so
yeah,
more.
more than just
Okay.
and early 2000s to semi-current, but it's more of like occasional matches here and there.
Okay.
And this person has competed on the grandest stage of them all at WrestleMania. So if you think of all the hints together, you should be able. They should help you a little bit because I'm not going to eliminate for you, but yeah.
Okay, so grandest stage of them all, women's wrestler, 2000s to current, a mean swing, you said? All grown up now. At Phoenix?
You already said that.
What?
You just said that.
Did I?
Yeah, you said that after the mean swing one.
Oh, I thought I said something else. Women's wrestler, 2000s, mean swing, all grown up. Not Mickey, not Trish, not Beth, not Victoria. Medusa hasn't wrestled in a while. 2000s. Natalia?
No.
Okay.
Clarification.
Shit.
Oh, I gotcha. I think
You did. They were 2000. They probably weren't part of NXT, at least not significantly. Were they ever a manager first? Or not first, but like just ever a manager?
They've been a manager.
Oh, who's been a manager that I can think of? That didn't help me because I couldn't think of any managers to begin with. Been a manager, women's champion. Layla?
No.
Oh, I mean that was my final guess. But if it's the person I'm thinking now, I would be upset at myself.
Say it.
Who was Eminem? Melina?
No.
Oh, okay.
The person we're looking for is actually Stephanie McMahon.
All grown up. I heard the song in my head, but I don't know why. I guess Trish Stratus. Like I knew the song, but I got the wrong person that was attached to it. Oh, I'm so mad at myself. Oh,
So she was obviously a women's champion. I think she might have even been a 2-time women's champion, maybe.
yeah.
Definitely at least once. And then not trustworthy. Things are all grown up now. Her song has a mean swing because she likes to slap people and usually does a full swing for it. And then has competed in WrestleMania.
That's true. Oh, that's so
You're frozen.
You were freezing up on my end too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's annoying because I literally like when you said all grown up, I was singing the song in my head and I just associated I associated it with the wrong wrestler.
That's actually why I was saying I wonder if our brains are gonna think alike because I wasn't sure if you were gonna remember the song because that's not her song anymore.
It's not?
No, it's like something that starts off with like Style and Grace or something like that. It's more like that.
Yeah, no, literally was singing the song in my head and I that associated the wrong wrestler. Well, there you go. That is the first official time recorded. You stumped me.
Boom! Look at
that. Well, that's gonna annoy me.
Well, that's like if you would have. I was thinking like because if you were to eliminate which women's champions have been at WrestleMania, and you had already guessed Trish, or had competed at WrestleMania, so there hasn't been that many women's champions that have competed at WrestleMania. I don't think. Like original women's title champions.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's what I mean. So that's where I was like, okay, saying that they competed at WrestleMania is very vague, but with that in combination, it's not really. And then with your clarification of how many women's champions that have also been managers that have competed.
So mad at myself.
I think I might get you on the next one too, actually.
I guess we'll find out in a segment.
Actually, no, by the never mind.
Well, either way, I need to move past that. All right, guys, time to jump into our middle segment of the night, which is honestly a new personal favorite of mine. Could you imagine, Mike? This was your idea, so I'll let you set the stage again for what we're going to talk about here.
So, could you imagine? We were thinking about like or at least for me, I was thinking about what my dream breaking Flair's record would be. and I don't have any of, or I shouldn't say I don't have any of the details nailed down, but I feel like my thinking has a lot of holes. And if you watch the behind the scenes, you'll hear all those holes. But I was thinking, because obviously the only person I think right now that is 16 is Cena with Flair, right? So, or Flair's technically way more, but again, that's a whole nother topic. um, and then you have Randy and Triple H at 14, or is Triple H at 13?
Triple H is
Or is he 12?
Triple H is 14. I think Randy might be 15.
Is he 15 now?
He's either 14 or 15. I forget what.
Yeah, but either way, he's the next person that's close to John Cena. So, and I feel like it would make sense for them, either one of them, to break Flair's record, and I feel like Flair would also be okay with either one of them breaking his record, because obviously it's history with Randy. And I feel like, I mean, I don't think they show much of it on screen, but I feel like he has a respect for Cena anyways. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but I feel like there is respect there. And I feel like either one of them, whoever the outcome, I feel like for me, I know I'd want Randy to do it, only because he's my favorite wrestler. But I feel like maybe I could, I don't know. Now with Triple H, I don't know. It would be a fair. I don't know who would win, but either way, regardless. So here's what I was thinking. So I don't know if I would want Randy to just be right at 16 during this time, because maybe we have another title run to get him to 16 before this happens, and I feel like that might be the easier solution, or the quicker storyline to it.
Yeah.
So I'll explain that one first. But either way, so we have him at 16. He's tied it up, and there's probably a bigger deal around that. Whatever. Maybe John Cena kind of comes back like he did because didn't Cena come back for his 20? I
Yeah.
don't know, yeah. So he came back for that whole Randy Orton ceremony thing, anniversary, whatever. And it could be like a similar situation to that. So at this point, in my mind, him and Riddle are no longer a tag team, because obviously he's had his, or you know what, now he's obviously had his title run, and he's back to 16. So something happens where he loses the title, and it's because he lost it with somebody that has some form of backup, you know, in the form of a manager or a tag team partner. But this person has to, in order for the storyline, this person has to at least have some type of wrestling skill. So they're gearing up to be a superstar, or they have been, and they're like how MVP has, whatever.
Yeah.
So then he loses it, he doesn't get it, and then they try, or no, actually no. So that makes it, he has to be 15 at this point for this storyline to work, remember?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry, my brain scattered. So he's 15 at this point. So see, he wins it back, or at least this is where my initial thinking was. He wins it back with the help of Cena. Cena comes back because he had already come back to acknowledge his initial new run or whatever. And it just made sense because he's still kind of around in the picture. Because obviously Cena him coming back, I feel like usually has to be a big deal. So for him to still kind of be back again, and I feel like he just still has to be in the picture or relevant to the storyline. So then he wins it back, and that gets him to the 16. But then at this point, I was trying to figure out a way to get them to be a tag team for a little bit. So again, this is going to be a longer storyline. So to get them to be a tag team. So, but in order for that to happen, Randy would have to lose the title again. So that would mean he doesn't have the title, because that wouldn't make sense for him to have the title if they're trying to go for a tag team championship, right? Or I mean, it doesn't. He could still have the whatever. Maybe he doesn't lose the championship. No, because that's what you were telling me. This is where I'm poking the holes in my own freaking theory here.
I'm
Because
letting the wheels turn. Like I'm like I'm just letting this run right now, letting the wheels turn in your head, and let's see where it goes.
We'll get to hear how crazy my thought process is.
To see the side that I've always known.
Right. So, anyways, so my thinking is I'd like to eventually have them be in the tag team title run, because I want them to build up this relationship of them being, close. They never really got to, I think, when they were initially in the game, because they were, both in their singles and heading for that spotlight. But now that they're a little bit older, and Randy seems, to be okay with doing successful in tag team, it'd be cool to bring them back, showing like that kind of relationship that they kind of have off screen, but now on screen. But then it'd be cool. And I don't know if how they're going to end Randy Orton and Riddle's relationship, if they ever will, or whatever that case may be. But it's typically Randy turning on his tag team partner in the past, or turning on somebody being that, that snake kind of thing. So then in this version, Cena turns on Randy.
Okay.
And Cena, since he's never really kind of had that successful, I feel like, heel run,
Right.
this could be his time to maybe show that a little bit.
Show,
And I don't know if
that
the
you can
universe would ever. What was that?
I was saying, show that you can teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, he did pretty good in Peacemaker. I feel like his acting skills have definitely gotten better. So, or at least I just enjoyed Peacemaker. I thought that was a funny show. But anyways, that's off topic. So yeah, I'm thinking he turns on him. But so where I was thinking where somehow Randy has to lose the title is because if they were to go again to try and break that 16, it would only benefit Cena in that point. Because if Cena wins, he'd be the 17. But if Randy wins, he just continues his 16 because he never lost his reign. So he would have to lose it, but like in a fashion that makes sense for him to just kind of give up the run.
Exactly. Like
that's where the struggle comes, because I still want Cena to be relevant and him to form like that tag team for him helping Randy to win it back. And then they kind of just like stayed in his corner for maybe the rematch or whatever the case. But then maybe somehow they form a tag team, maybe somebody that is the tag team champions. Like, I don't know, like say the Usos find a problem with them or something. And Roman's like, nah, screw this or something. I want my title. I don't know. I want both titles again. And so I'm going to take it back or whatever. And then Roman goes and fights it off with whoever that person Randy loses it to. And then it becomes because the Randy lost because of the Usos interfering, they have a feud with them and they win the tag team. But there we go. Look, I just have my loophole.
Like you brought up a good point, which is what even like since our behind the scenes thing, like I've been trying to figure out is, like you were saying, neither for this like scenario to work, neither of them can be champion because otherwise it only benefits the one who isn't the champion.
Right.
So neither of them can be champion, but you also like, I feel like for it to really count, it can't be like a triple threat match where one of them,
right,
like, you know, like pin like somebody that's not the other. Like it needs to be a one-on-one.
Or maybe there's a storyline that goes off of Becky Lynch's tweet about her doing better because she showed up to work. So maybe Roman gets stripped from one of his titles, and because he doesn't want to show up to both brands or something, and he only wants to show up to, I don't know, Raw or SmackDown, right. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, if you're not going to show up, then we're just taking the title because the champion has to be, both champions for each brand have to be at each brand, if, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it. I know it's a sucky thing because we don't want to just strip it and then give it to someone. It's not necessarily give it. Maybe it's a ladder match. That'd be pretty cool. But
it's funny that you say ladder match because I was also I have a couple thoughts. So I was just thinking like, oh, well, what is there stipulations to the match? Is it just a one-on-one match? And
I always feel like ladder matches are the best when like it deciding the true champion type thing.
I get what you're saying. My
or
only
if the title wasn't with either competitor and they're going for it.
Right. And no, that makes sense. My only takeaway from that is we've already seen John Cena versus Randy to see who would be the ultimate champ because when they unified the world WWE. So it'd be like kind of redoing that, which, you know, it's done before, but I was trying to think of like something fresh. The other thing that I thought of towards the beginning of this segment that I thought would be kind of cool and kind of funny. So you were saying how like obviously Flair is close with Randy because of Evolution, and he, you know, more than likely has a good respect for Cena as well. I want to see him as the special guest referee. Like if they're having this one-on-one match for the 17th world title, knock on wood, I hope.
That'd be sick. I don't know how that would. Yeah.
Yeah, like I want to see Ric Flair's like, he's like, you know, one of you is gonna.
I mean, he just did his final match again.
Right. Well, that's his final match with me. Special guest referee.
Right, but he's still. That's what I mean. He's still active enough to be there. So I mean.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, if this can happen within the next few years and knock on wood, Flair's health is still really, you know, still keeping up. Like, you know, he needs to be the one counting the three. Assuming it's a match. He's the one that counts the three for who takes over his record. Like, I think that'd be the great set.
And the only other, and I know you're not the biggest fan of her, but I feel like if, God forbid, his health isn't the greatest and he can't do it, or he's, unfortunately gone at this point, I feel like Charlotte is an okay substitute. Only because obviously it's her daughter, but like she's pretty close to being a 16-time women's champion anyways.
I have a whole issue.
Unless that's what they're doing. They're breaking his record with her.
It could be. It could be.
That could be it. How would you break his record?
It could be. This is getting a little off topic, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. My one grievance with her having as many title reigns as she does is I feel like, unlike Flair, and I could be wrong, so someone out there correct me, Flair had Ric Flair had much longer title reigns. Charlotte's reigns have been a lot shorter. Like, if you remember when the Raw Women's Championship first got established, like the new Women's Championship that became the Raw one, like she had like 3 title reigns in a matter of like 2 months because her and Sasha Banks kept flopping the title every couple of weeks.
How many has she hit 3 digits on a title reign before, or has only Bayley?
You mean like more than 100 days or 360?
Yeah, more than 100 days.
I'm sure Charlotte's had more than 100 days at some point.
Oh, at least I think currently now with her current title. Is she? No, she's not. Is she the current champion?
No, she's not the champion right now.
But she was at WrestleMania. She beat. That was the last time I remember her defending the title. Either way, I just haven't fully caught up yet. So
got it. But she definitely had more than 100 day reign at some point. But
I think where I'm at right now, I don't think she has, but we'll see. I guess.
It could have been, but yeah. So that but I will agree with you. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Charlotte, but if Rick can't, maybe he's not in great health or whatever, he can't be the special guest referee. I think I agree. Charlotte is a good replacement. Like, she's still a Flair. Like, let her be the one.
Or his son that was in that one storyline with Undertaker could be.
Well, one of his sons did pass away, but I can't remember if it was that son or his other son.
I didn't know. Actually, I think I did know that.
Yeah, but I forget which one it was. But either way, yeah. I mean, if
we'll just Charlotte. Forget
it. She's a WWE person. If Rick can't do it,
look into this pen, please. Everybody listening to.
But yeah, and I know we were talking about, but yeah, it's hard to say, like, someone like the title essentially needs to be vacated, which is always kind of an annoying storyline. But like, it needs to be a vacant title.
I mean, but I guess otherwise it would just end up being somebody that doesn't compete with somebody that's close, like that's still active, that's kind of close to the record, and they're just going to beat it.
Yeah, I mean, like you know what? You mentioned Roman, so I'm going to say this. This is now my scenario. Orton's already is at 16 now. Roman's is back to being champ again. The Usos keep interfering. What?
Double champ or one champ?
Doesn't matter. Roman is champ. Randy's at 16. Cena's at 16. Randy's trying to beat Roman for, we'll call it the Universal Championship, but the Usos keep interfering, so he can't get to it because they keep messing it up. John Cena comes back to help him, and it's a scenario of a 3-on-2 handicap match. The Bloodline versus John Cena and Randy Orton. Whoever gets the pinfall is the champion, meaning that even if the Usos get one of the Usos get the pinfall, they would become champion type of situation. And throughout the entire match, because both Cena and Orton want to be that 17-time world champion, they're almost, even though they're a tag team in this scenario, they're almost fighting each other to prevent the other from getting the pinfall type of thing. Mm-hmm. So that's my what could you imagine.
But I thought you didn't want it to be into like a triple threat, because that's basically a triple threat again.
I didn't, but like I don't like, that's not my ideal thing, but like just because I also don't want to see it being a vacant title and then two guys kind of part-time that's the kind of best.
Well, that's why I felt like there needed to be a longer build-up to make it so that Cena would have to commit to like a year of at least part-time or a little bit more than part-time. It was close to time type thing.
I guess, I mean, it wouldn't probably be as long-term as what you were thinking, but that's also why I was saying, like, Orton is in like a feud with Roman, and the Usos need some backup. So like Cena comes in to help him. They have a couple of matches, non-title stuff, and then it finally gets to be like at like a big pay-per-view, like maybe like a SummerSlam or a Survivor Series, like 3-on-2 handicap Bloodline versus Cena Orton.
Yeah, I just think it needs to be like a big storyline to end in something that's
it should, yeah.
big, you know.
Like you can't have Orton or Cena becoming a 17-time world champion without it being a big storyline. It can't just be like, we're gonna do it because we feel like it.
Is there anybody that's active that's close to 16 right now? Like how many is that how many is Roman at?
Roman's nowhere close. Roman's 6 digits still. The next closest that's active would probably be Brock.
Oh right, yeah.
And he's at like maybe 10 or 11.
Then I'd be okay with like a triple threat that way. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe, I mean, I'm talking about like it's actually gonna happen. I'm sure eventually it'll happen. Somebody's gonna break the record, but it's about knowing how they're going and how quickly Charlotte keeps getting reigns. She's probably gonna get closer to the 17 before anybody else.
Yeah, well, and the question is too, like we were talking about this earlier, not to take away from women's wrestling, but do you really count those as
I guess
world title type things? I know well before our podcast, we kind of had a similar discussion of, do you count Paige as the youngest world champion in history because she was 19 when she won the Divas title? But it's like, is that
Randy was what, 22?
Randy was 20.
He's not even the youngest male anymore, right?
He never was.
I thought he was.
By WWE standards.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Here, like, yes, you and I are bigger WWE fans than over anything else, but WWE.
That's all I've been watching for the past 2 years now. So
I get it. Like my point is, but you know what? Like my point is still like, when you look at it, part of those 16 world titles that Flair gets counted for in WWE are WCW titles. So if we're going to stick to that standard then, and just getting off topic, I don't care. I think it's a fair point. If you're going to go by that standard of counting WCW world title reigns for records like that, then the Big Show should be considered the youngest world champion of all time because he was 20 or 21. He was only 20 or 21 when he beat Hulk Hogan for the WCW title.
And Randy was 21 or 22 when he won.
Randy was like 24. No, 22. Yeah, he was 22.
That doesn't say. I thought he was
okay, so Big Show was younger. So he should be. If we're going to count WCW stuff now that WWE owns it,
which they do. That's what they're doing.
Right. So Randy Orton should not be considered by that standard. Randy Orton should not be considered the world champion.
That's a fair point.
Anyways, but yeah. So but that obviously that whole tangent came from if we're going to count.
I think the more realistic and easier or quicker one for them to actually achieve is to get Brock to 16. And then when he's about to break the 16 or whatever, no, fuck, that still doesn't work. I was going to say, then John Cena and Randy Orton step in and like, whoa. If that's going to happen, we need to be involved in this match or something like that and then make it a triple threat. But Brock would be the champion so that wouldn't.
Well, I would still say that's fine. Like, have Brock.
Make it a fatal 4-way elimination match so that at least one of them gets the chance to be the 17, because then all three of them are like, fuck this, we all want to be the 17, so let's eliminate this other person like Roman or something who has the title in this fatal 4-way elimination match. And then they all eliminate each other.
Now you're talking really long-term storytelling because Orton needs to get the 2 extra title reigns and Brock needs like 5. So it's like
the way Brock flips his title reigns, I feel like that can
sometimes, but then he also has like 508. So it's tough.
But I feel like he's a person I can easily flip and they've done that a couple times in like 2020.
They have, yeah, they have
like 3 or 4 times, I think.
That's fair. That's fair.
So they could easily do that again, if they wanted to.
Yeah,
maybe they'll surprise us and we'll be blown away by what they do with whoever breaks the record.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and who knows? Maybe they could even surprise us more and say, you know what? No one's
gonna break it.
We're gonna stop everyone at 16 type of thing. That could end up being the case. And just to, everyone out there as a future preview, kind of building off of this segment. One segment that I do want to do someday, which hopefully you guys will still be listening to us at that point, is I do want to eventually have a segment of whose 16 world titles mean more. Ric Flair or John Cena. The day we get to that segment, we'll go into it more, but I have certain thoughts about it. So I'm interested, what you think, Mike, and then what people out in the world think as well. But yeah, I guess that kind of does it.
Yeah.
We did try to do a could you imagine of how should Ric Flair's record be broken, but it doesn't seem like there's ever going to be a great solution. So WWE, if you're going to break his record, do something cool, make us excited about it.
Right. I'm sure they will.
We want to have
Usually don't disappoint.
Yeah, we want to have fun with it. So keep us happy.
So
But
I think it's your turn now, right?
yeah, but it's time to jump back into guess the poorly described wrestler. So I'm ready when you are.
All right. So this superstar could be considered world renowned.
World renowned. Person in mind, I can't think of their name. I'm picturing someone very flashy. I'm gonna go with the Miz.
No.
Okay.
You wanted a clarification?
Oh, I have a clarification question. Are they male or female?
No.
They're male. Okay.
Yes. All right. And this person is also a reality star. I know.
Oh, Logan Paul.
No.
Oh, damn.
Clarification?
All right. Former world champion.
No.
Okay.
No. Is the NXT? That's not the world champion, right?
We'll count NXT as world title.
Okay, so then yes.
Oh yes. Okay. That
Yes.
helps me narrow it down because there haven't been that many NXT champions.
Shit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was. Yeah.
Okay.
This person is a risk taker.
Risk taker. I almost called him by his AEW name, Neville.
No. Well, that's a good guess. Clarification. Go ahead.
Okay. So world renowned NXT champion.
Okay, that wasn't
I
my
guess.
hint. That wasn't my hint.
It's just in my head. I don't know why I guess Neville because he wasn't a reality TV star. Have they wrestled for other promotions?
No other like mainstream promotions. Like nothing. No.
So indies.
Like yeah, but not like WWE, not like AEW, not Impact or anything like that. But I think they've been on like it might have been New Japan. I think
That's mainstream, but okay.
but like televised or like I guess national for us. Like it's not mainstream for the US. I guess.
Okay.
To me, it's not. But maybe if I'm ignorant and yell at me in the comments if you want. That's fine. All right, the next two hints I think are going to be a little bit easier. But he is not a good friend.
Kevin Owens.
No. Clarification.
Any mid-card or tag titles?
Yes. And I think so on the tag titles.
Okay. I mean, just a single yes would be fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. This person may be considered a conspiracy theorist.
Oh shoot, what's his name? Kevin Owens' friend. Why am I drawing a blank?
Huh?
Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sami Zayn.
I had a feeling by the last one you would get it.
What was the last one?
The conspiracy. That was the last one. That was
Oh,
the
that's
last
that's right. Oh,
that was
that's
number 5. Yeah.
Okay.
So I got close. I got close to something twice.
That was really close. What was the reality TV thing?
Because he had his camera crew follow him around, filming his basically real life. That's why I said it would be considered a reality TV star.
So it wasn't reality.
It wasn't, yeah.
I see. Okay.
And then world renowned because he's competed across the world. Right? He was in New Japan, right? No, I thought he was.
I have no idea.
But I know he's competed all over the world because that's his whole shtick to why he has the flags and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then risk taker because I still think that move is rather insane to jump through the ropes and do the DDT thing from outside the ring to the person outside the ring.
Oh yeah, that movie is nuts.
That move just is insane. And then my good friend, obviously Kevin Owens, and they're both betraying each other all the time.
Yeah.
Obviously. And then conspiracy theorist. 'cause-
Sounds good. I like that one. That was fun.
all right,
I'm glad it's a good thing, even though I'm not up to 2021 yet, I know the whole conspiracy like theory.
yeah. That's why I wasn't sure if you were gonna, but I had a feeling you were gonna get it. But that was my only like maybe he just might not know.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Are you for guessing the wrestler?
Let's hope I actually get one this time.
All right. Let's see. This individual is impervious to sweet chin music.
I don't know. Undertaker.
Who?
Undertaker.
Not the Undertaker.
Okay. Male. Well, no. No. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. No. Clarification. Always. Like sweet chin music just doesn't affect them always.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It's a screw. That's a screw around hint, but yes, in my head,
Okay.
like they would never be able to get hit with sweet chin music.
Okay.
All right. This individual was a former member of the Rosebuds.
That hint is not going to get me anywhere. The only one I know is the only one that's notable is the Easter Bunny thing, and I don't know what the frick that was. I have no idea. I don't even know. This is the freaking Rosebud.
A bunch of wrestlers.
Really?
Well, not a bunch, but there's a couple.
I don't know. I have no idea.
All right.
Nitro.
Did you say who? Johnny Nitro?
Yeah. Johnny Drip Drip.
It's not Johnny Drip Drip.
Oh, is that my clarification? All right. Before, were they like a superstar and known before they were a Rosebud, or were they a Rosebud and then became known?
Rosebud then known.
Okay.
Okay. Their first match in the WWE was against another former Rosebud.
I don't know what either freaking Rosebuds are.
So the person that they had the match against is very hard to miss.
Is very hard to miss.
The person they had a match against, like he's a very large individual.
I don't remember the large individuals in the Rosebuds. I literally can only think of the freaking Easter Rabbit. Didn't they have a match? Adam Rose and the Rabbit at one point?
Imagine.
No, they did. Because he got mad at him or something. It was like a tag match, I think. Or maybe it was a one-on-one, but he got mad at him for like stealing the light or the limelight or whatever.
That's right. That's right.
Shoot. I have no idea when this is Baron Corbin. I don't know.
It's not Baron Corbin.
Oh, clarification. All right. I need something that is gonna help me out with freaking Rosebud things. Was this person in NXT? Was he in NXT?
They did not compete in NXT.
So they went straight to main roster. Frick. Nah, I'm gonna be stumped on this one. Go ahead. What are we hit number 4 now?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Hint number 4. They were friends with Dean Ambrose.
I'm gonna say you say some shit about the Rosebuds again. He was friends with Adam Rose. No shit. Shit. He was friends with Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
No idea. Who the hell was the Rosebud? Seth Rollins wasn't. Seth Rollins. He was in Rosebud, wasn't he?
Not Seth Rollins.
Oh, he was in NXT. So, shit. All right. Clarification. Is this person a world champ?
No, they were not a world champion.
So they're like the same laugh at that. Okay. Last hint.
Okay. They hold a win over AJ Styles.
That's all. Oh shoot, what's his name? What is he? He's not a superstar. Is he a superstar? Would he be considered a superstar? The one that was with Carmella and helped her win the Money in the Bank thing? Oh, what's his name? The freaking shoot! It's him, isn't it? It's him. It's like James Eldwin or something like that.
I'll give it to you.
Ellsbury.
James Ellsworth. James. Yeah. The whole
I didn't know he was oh, I guess that's kind of how he started, but like how he was introed or whatever, right?
yeah.
Who did he have a match against?
Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman was he the bunny?
No, but there's a Rosebud segment where Braun Strowman is like outside of a camper, like dancing around with the rest of the Rosebuds and stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
I got one. I finally got one, and I stumped you all in the same episode.
Yeah, it's a
Somebody might need to go check the temperature of hell or something.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely a good round of guest wrestler. I can't believe you actually got that, and the fact that you still the other one.
I was with the whole freaking Rosebud thing. That was like,
yeah, that was like such an innocuous fact. That was like, I knew like it's pretty clear fact because there's not many people that came from the Rosebuds, but it was like, who would know that James Ellsworth was part of it? But I personally found
him. And then what was the last hint that got me, that let me know?
The whole
the only two that styles. Yeah, because that's what I remembered. But I don't know why that made me think of him. I guess immediately the chin thing.
You dislike AJ Styles so much, you remember every single person that's ever.
Every single one noted. No, I told you I like him. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Phenomenal. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I also thought I was pretty. I thought I was pretty funny to myself with the Courteous the Sweet Chin music because he has chin.
Didn't he say? Isn't there a segment with him? Is there a segment with him? Who says something about don't they call him like the Chin Wonder or something like that?
Yeah, there's I think it was something like leading up to Survivor Series one of the years or something. Like everybody's making fun of him being like, "Who the fuck is this?" Man. All right, well let's head into our last segment of the night, and just kind of going through. I guess I don't want to call it grievances, but like the way we've gotten like reactions to people finding out we're like doing a wrestling podcast. Because like, I mean, I don't know about you, but like the few people that like, well, so I've had two versions of it. I've personally had one where like I'll reach out to people that I know like WWE or like some form of professional wrestling, be like, hey man, or hey chick, like hey dude, he's a dude, she's a dude, we're all dudes. Like I'll reach out to people that I know like professional wrestling and just be like, hey, me and a buddy are starting a podcast. It'd be awesome if you gave it a listen, like interested in feedback or something like that. And they're like people that actually like professional wrestling are obviously like, oh, like that's awesome, man. Like I'll definitely give it a listen. Like so cool that you're doing that. But then on the flip side, the people that annoy me are like, there'll be people that I won't tell, but like we'll find out because like I'm posting like, hey, go check out my episode on like the different like my different personal social medias, and like then I'll see them and be like, oh, you're doing a professional wrestling podcast? Like you watch that? And I'm like, yeah, I watched that. And then it's always a reaction of like, well, it's like scripted or whatever, right? And I'm like, okay.
Every show that you watch has a script, right?
Right. And like, I don't know. It irritates me. You're like, oh, like I don't know how you watch that. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like I'm like, at least the actors in my TV show are doing their own stunts. Like they're as athletic as any other professional athlete, but they also have to have acting thrown in there. So it's like, who's really the person that's watching something that doesn't make sense here?
Yeah, I guess I just never understood how people can't get over that fact that like, yeah, we know that the matches are predetermined, but you can only fake so much. So to sit there and say, oh, it's fake, like one, yeah, okay, fine, it's scripted, but that's the whole point. We know it's entertainment.
Right.
entertainment's in the name, and that's why they're called superstars, like, or entertainers. And it's,
Yeah.
they're, like you said, they're meant to act and provide entertainment, not just like, if we wanted to just watch the fighting and then not know, like, I mean, we don't, as the audience, you don't know what the freaking winner, who the winner's going to be. So
You have an idea, but you
say,
never.
oh well, it's fake, it's scripted. It's like, okay, well, it's scripted to the people that are playing it. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, we obviously have an idea of how, we can make our assumptions based off of like what we think is going to happen and what has been done in the past, but it's still new to us, and everything we're finding out is, it's not like we know who the winner is going to be. But if we wanted to just simply focus on the fight, and we watch UFC, and that's fine, and we do, but like, that's we can still have our entertainment in other forms, and people
Right.
get all freaking weird about, like, oh, I don't know, it's stupid.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, like I mean, I can think of even to like a recent interaction where like I was talking about like how, or someone brought up the fact that like I started a wrestling podcast, and it was in a group, and one particular person was like, oh, like you should have I'm gonna purposely not use names, but like, oh, you should have my fiance come on the podcast. Like he loves watching wrestling, like that's all he ever like likes to talk about. And then the fiance, who I know doesn't like professional wrestling, like
Right.
kind of like shoots a look, and I'm like, all right, there's no need for that look. Like an eye roll type of look. And I'm like, all right, there's no need for that, number one. Number two, and then he's like, oh, he's like talking about like WWE, like TV wrestling. And then the girl who initially said it like also gave the same look. And I'm like, all right, you don't like it, that's fine. But like also
Right.
at the same time, like you don't need to make me feel like crappy because I like it, and like I like it enough to want to like do something with it type of situation. It was like, and I don't think like that was the intent of
Right.
like them making those comments, or having that like facial reaction. Like I definitely don't, like I don't think that was their intention, but it's still kind of just like in my head of like, all right, that kind of made me feel shitty. Like I get a particular enjoyment out of it. You didn't need to make me
Right.
feel
Yeah.
bad.
But that goes, I mean, I feel like that just happens all the time, especially on the internet. Like, why do people seem to, like, if you don't like something, that's fine.
Yeah.
Move on. You don't need to watch what we're talking about. We're not telling you you need to watch wrestling. We're simply talking about something that we like.
Yeah, exactly. Like for I think for us, like
Point blank.
especially what?
I was just saying point blank, like, that's it, and if you do, like, I never understood why people felt the need to, and on anything, not even just wrestling, but just felt the need to just negatively say something
Right.
based off of what somebody else likes. Like, I mean, granted, now if we're talking about like people that like murder or something, I mean, okay, fine.
Maybe the
Say
negative, but
something negative. You can lash out at them, fine. But when
yeah,
it comes to like interest and whatever hobby, all right, again, I guess somebody could have a hobby on going like committing murders. But again, you know what I mean? That's an extreme, but whatever.
yeah,
Like, why do you feel the need to just not belittle them, I guess, but like belittle their interest? Maybe I think it's silly, it's stupid, and there's no need for it. I never got that.
yeah, exactly. And I think the other piece of it too is, we mentioned this in our first episode, but like the stuff that we're talking about on our episodes, it's obviously a little more structured, but it's stuff we would be talking about anyways in like our normal texts.
Sorry guys, it's scripted.
Snapchats. What?
Our conversations are fake, just like wrestling.
Right. But like it's stuff we'd be talking about anyways, like via text. But now at least doing these recordings,
Put a little parameters around it, yeah.
right. Well, it put the parameters. But like I was even saying, like because we don't like live in close enough proximity where we're seeing each other that often, like it's a virtual like hanging out, but like it gives us a chance to hang out, so we're not just constantly texting about wrestling. We can at least like talk about it face to face, and then just kind of record it type
It's
thing.
kind of what we do when I either go up or you come down here. So
So
we're either watching, talking about it, or whatever the case.
exactly. So it's just an opportunity for us to continue talking about it without having it to be like a text conversation. So like that's the other part too, is like, so like
Other people, again, if other people are entertained by it, don't tell them it sucks, because they still find entertainment out of it.
But yeah, so I mean, like I said, those have been my like two specific interactions. So like I know you haven't maybe had as many, but like I'm interested in like people like in your life that you've mentioned, like, oh, I started a professional wrestling podcast. Like, take a look. Like, have you had any like initial reactions of people?
Yeah, I mean, the main ones that are really just like family and friends or whatever, and obviously my family who all watch wrestling. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna listen. We're gonna listen." I think probably the only people that listened really were my nephew because he was super excited to hear us even bring his name up.
Yeah,
That was like the first thing he said to me. It's like, "Oh, you guys talked about me."
that's so cool.
And then I feel like the other people that have said that they were gonna watch are just because they know us and they know how idiotic we can be. So they're just like, regardless of the content that you guys are talking about, whether I'd like it or not, I feel like you guys are just gonna be entertaining to listen to.
I guess it's pretty funny that you say that because in that same setting, which actually is what kickstarted the whole conversation of like the facial expression situation I was just explaining. Like that's how it actually, now that I think about it, that's how it came up. Someone that you and I both know was like, oh, like I heard you two are doing this podcast together. Like I know nothing about professional wrestling, but like I still gave it a listen just to kind of like support you guys because like I know you. So like, what's 45 minutes to an hour out of my time just to kind of like give you guys a listen. So yeah, it's those are the type of people like you kind of, even if they don't like it, like those are the people that you're gonna appreciate just because it's like,
Right.
I know it's fake, but I can't stand it. And like I don't know why you actually watch it, but like, good on you guys for trying to do something with it.
Yeah, I can't imagine people that are like, "Oh, I can't stand." Like, shut up, shut up. It's like,
I
why?
don't want to see you ever watching anything other than a documentary or like baseball and football.
But even like in comments, like I mean, I don't really pay attention to. I don't know. I just don't feel the need to answer negative comments anymore. At first, I was like, I'm gonna be petty probably and just do things like in a nice way, like kill 'em with kindness thing, and just
Yeah,
be happy about it because that's usually how I am. But I was like, I don't know. Like seeing comments like, "Oh, you guys know that's fake, right?" Or like, I don't know. It's just why?
yeah,
Like,
like no,
move on. Just don't watch.
yeah.
Or at least go ahead. I mean, continue. You know what? Continue to comment negatively. Continue to watch and be upset about it. And just, I'm sorry, I'm ignoring you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's what we need to do more is, and just the wrestling community in general needs to do more is like, and maybe some people are better at it than I am or that you are, but like just if people don't like wrestling, like that's fine. Like not every single piece of content out in the world that exists is gonna be everyone's cup of tea. Like just do your thing and move on.
Just like when I probably talk about Marvel, I probably annoy the hell out of people with that too. Between wrestling and Marvel, do I have a personality?
True. I can't stand when you talk about Marvel. It's terrible. Yeah. Quick. Anyways, guys, we appreciate you listening. If you did listen and you made it all the way through, comment ice cream. That's gonna be the code word for this episode.
What did we do last
But
time? We had taco at one point,
we had
right?
taco for the first episode, but then we didn't do anything for the second and third. But so I'm gonna bring that back from now on. At the end of every episode, we're gonna give you guys a code word. Comment that code word to let us know that you gave this thing a full listen. But we hope you guys have a good night. If it's night while you're watching this, if not, enjoy the rest of your day.
We should mix it up with when we say the code word, though.
Oh, that's a good point.
You could just fast forward. Can you fast forward when you're watching a podcast?
Yeah. That's a good point. So actually, what guys, you have to listen to the whole episode. We're gonna start throwing in
Keep
random.
on your toes.
Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. As I said, I'm one of your co-hosts, Alex, and I'm ending it right there.